In this video, I'm going to show you a pretty much completed vibe-coded site created with Lovable. And this is a pickleball list. It's a global list of pickleball clubs and courts around the world. And it has additional information. So let's go to the main page. So it groups courts by country. It will display the top player in every country. You can see the number of courts that's grouped for each country, and there's different views. You've got the tile view, we have the grid view, which is not grouped by country, and we have the map view. And then we have additional filters, so you can search by courts that are in a certain country, and I can see that this needs to be fixed here. But let's just type in a test. Thailand. And you can see here that I've set up a user password database. So when you create an account, you have the ability to submit a court. You can actually add a new court to the list, and you can actually do a review. You can add photos. I'm just going to show you one where I tested adding a review. So here's the photo I added. So anyone with an account can make a submission. You can also host games, and yeah, over here you can create a game, you can host games, and I want to make it a bit more social so you can connect with other players that you may not know. I've created an inbox to interact with other players. The profile area, you can actually select your rating, see the courts that you've added. And I've created an admin view. So the admin can actually approve submissions. Okay, so this is the admin account. So under the admin, we can see any pending submissions, all the approved ones. So you can see that I approved this photo for that court, which is nice. Yeah, so that's the Pickle List app. And you can see the domain name, list.tennispickleball.coach. Now this is actually a subdomain of my pickleball website, Tennis to Pickleball, and I've created a link off here, and vice versa. Gotta refresh this. So this should also link back to my website. When you click the logo, I'll have to publish the latest iteration because I just made that change, so I would actually have to publish it out. So let me take you behind the scenes. Let me just publish this last change here. So some key things to note. I use Lovable to build this site. I'm actually using a WordPress site just for my regular website. I created this WordPress site on WordPress, hosted by SiteGround. So SiteGround is a hosting website that has been known to be very responsive, recommended by Gemini AI. You can see it's already giving me some stats, which is interesting because I just created the site. So as it relates to the actual domain. So I actually had to create a subdomain, list.pickleball.coach, and then on Lovable, once I actually published out the app, it gives you the ability to point your custom domain over to, you can list it to your subdomain. So it'll give you the IP address. So this was a little bit tricky, but it can also be accessed from this URL here. So the process, let me just show you the beginning on Lovable's website. Let's just go back. You can see there's a lot of moving parts. I'll show you some of the key prompts to create this app. Okay, build a professional, mobile responsive global pickleball directory called PickleList app. The app should allow users to crowdsource court locations worldwide. Core features, interactive map and search. Crowdsource entries, allowing people to submit a court. User profiles and a verification. So we have a database. Users can add their own profile, reviews. And then, so that sets up the core, the first prompt. And what I like about Lovable is that it'll give you some opportunities to make some choices after you submit the prompt. So my next prompt was to fix some of the issues. And then I wanted to populate the directory with some actual courts to begin with, because to get the ball rolling, you need some existing data. So I asked it to populate the directory with courts in Canada using information on the internet, which it did. And I'm familiar with these courts, so the AI in Lovable is smart enough to actually get some data out on the internet. And then I made minor changes, allow the user to pick between map and list view. So I started to do some testing on the app and notice some new features I needed. So we allow people to upload photos and then populate it with more data. And then I set up an admin account to review the submissions. And then I populated more courts in United States and Mexico. And then just some fixing up because I couldn't view the photos after a submission was approved, so they fixed that. And then I made some changes to the tile. I wanted to list like internet speeds, cost of living, because it's a destination pickleball site. And then the rest is just fixing things that weren't working. So here's the prompt to add additional information to the thumbnails. Add additional metrics to the thumbnails for pickleball destination, research like monthly cost of living, current weather, and Wi-Fi speed. So that is, I believe, on the grid view. So you can see all that key information there. And then set the default view to be grouped by country, and then the top 3 players in each country. Then I added a logo header over here, and then you can see I just gave the ability to link back to my website, added a messaging area, the ability to host games. And that's pretty much it. So it's a process of getting your core features, testing it, and then figuring out what needs to be fixed, adding additional features, and just repeating the process. And the key final part here was to publish it out to my domain. There's quite a bit of work to get to a usable, polished stage, but there's always little things that you may need to fix. But if we refresh this, you can the one feature I need to test is linking back to the website, and that works. So there we go. So that's using Lovable. So for Lovable, let's just go back to the base prompt here. So we can click on the top left to go back to the dashboard. So they're using GPT 5.5, and here's the main prompt. What I like about Lovable is it's easy to use, it's powerful. You can see your existing projects. There are existing templates. So anyone really has a good starting point to create a vibe coded app. And as you can see, I've linked it to my actual website where it just becomes just like any other app. And yeah, and that's using WordPress and SiteGround, which I will link to for you to use if you want to use the same tools. So yeah, and that in a nutshell is how I created the pickle list using Lovable. Final thing I'll just share with you is the actual cost. So I'm using the Pro plan. So I go to if I go to my plans, I'm on the Pro plan. So Pro plan is $50 US a month, and yeah, it's more than enough credits to create this app. So they gave me 100 monthly credits, and you saw I still have 84 credits remaining. And you can see here the credits, they resets daily and monthly. And that's also something that you want to be aware of. You want to try to create the app in the least amount of credits, but you also want enough time to test and make sure all the bugs are ironed out.